Tony Bennett seemed like the warmest man in music, admired by legends from Lady Gaga to Frank Sinatra. But behind that familiar smile was a hidden story, one he carried in silence for over 50 years. This was not just a matter of rivalry or jealousy. It was deeply personal, so much so that Bennett only spoke about it when he was near the end of his life. And to understand why, we need to go back to where it all began. Intak Dekna, Tabhai Samchog Puri Kahani. Anthony Dominic Benedetto was born on August 3, 1926, in Queens, New York. His parents had left Italy dreaming of a better life, but what they found was hardship. Their tiny apartment was freezing in winter, with coal stoves barely keeping the family warm, and food was never certain. When Tony was just 10, tragedy struck. His father died at only 50, leaving his mother, Anna, to care for 3 children during the Great Depression. Poverty was crushing, and there were days when they depended on soup kitchens just to survive. Yet even in the middle of so much struggle, Tony discovered something extraordinary: his voice. That same year, he was chosen to sing at the grand opening of the Triborough Bridge before a crowd that included the mayor of New York. A boy who had just lost his father suddenly stood on stage, proving that his voice could carry him beyond hardship. By 13, he was working as a singing waiter, serving pasta in Queens by day and stealing hearts with his performances by night. Every note he sang wasn't just music, it was survival, a way to put bread and milk on the family table. Little did anyone know, this boy from Astoria was destined for greatness. As Tony grew older, his passion for art and music deepened. At school, he was known for his sketches and caricatures, and soon he was accepted into Manhattan's School of Industrial Art. There, he dreamed of becoming a commercial artist. But survival came first. At just 16, he dropped out of school to support his family, working odd jobs as a copy boy, grocery clerk, and even an elevator operator. Yet no matter how exhausting the grind was, he never gave up singing. Local clubs and amateur nights became his escape, places where his voice began to carve its identity. In 1944, when he was only 18, life changed again. Tony was drafted into the U.S. Army during the final stages of World War II. He saw the horrors of battle firsthand: friends dying, villages destroyed, freezing nights in foxholes. The Battle of the Bulge left scars that stayed with him forever. But even there, in the darkest moments, Tony sang with military bands, giving soldiers a moment of peace amid chaos. These experiences transformed him into a lifelong advocate for peace and justice. After the war, the GI Bill gave him the chance to study music properly. Under vocal coach Mimi Spear, Tony received advice that shaped his career: don't imitate singers, learn from instrumentalists. Inspired by jazz icons like Art Tatum and Billie Holiday, he developed a unique style that blended sincerity with swing. In 1949, fate struck again. Performing under the stage name Joe Barry in Greenwich Village clubs, Tony caught the attention of Pearl Bailey, who invited him to open her show. That night changed everything. Soon after, Bob Hope discovered him and suggested a name the world would never forget: Tony Bennett. From that moment, a legend was born. Tony Bennett's rise was unstoppable. By 1950, he signed with Columbia Records, and under producer Mitch Miller, he learned to pour pure emotion into every phrase. His first breakthrough came in 1951 with Because of You. Slowly climbing the charts, it became a 10-week #1 hit and sold over 1 million copies. That success turned Tony into a household name, but he wasn't finished. His rendition of Hank Williams' Cold Heart proved he could cross genres. Country fans respected him, and pop audiences embraced him. Even Hank Williams himself praised the version, recognizing that Bennett had opened doors to new listeners. In 1953, Rags to Riches became another defining anthem, selling over 2 million copies and embedding itself into American culture. Soon his voice was everywhere, on radio, television, and film. By the mid-1960s, he had 24 singles in the top 40, even holding his ground when the Beatles dominated the charts. Unlike many artists of his era, Bennett's appeal spanned generations. But his career wasn't built on hits alone. Tony ventured into jazz, collaborating with icons like Count Basie, Stan Getz, and Art Blakey. These partnerships shocked critics who doubted a pop singer could swing, but Bennett proved them wrong. Albums like The Beat of My Heart and Basie Swings Bennett Sings showcased a daring creativity that put artistry above commercial trends. Even Sinatra admitted he learned how to swing from Bennett's experiments. Then, in 1962, came the song that would define his career forever, I Left My Heart in San Francisco. Recorded while he was sick with laryngitis, his raspy, heartfelt delivery turned the ballad into history. It earned him 2 Grammys, became the city of San Francisco's official anthem, and secured his place among music's immortals. As the 1960s faded, the music world shifted. Rock took over, and Columbia Records pressured Tony Bennett to adapt. In 1970, he reluctantly recorded Tony Sings the Great Hits of Today, a psychedelic-styled album with Beatles covers. He later admitted the project made him feel physically ill. Rock fans ignored it, loyal fans hated it, and suddenly Bennett was caught between 2 worlds. His record sales collapsed, and his personal life grew turbulent. His marriage to Patricia Beach ended in 1971 after years of strain and scandal over his affair with actress Sandra Grant, whom he married the same year. The clean-cut crooner image was shattered. Professionally, things worsened when he split from Columbia Records in 1972, refusing to chase rock trends. Attempts to start his own label, Improv, collapsed by 1977, leaving him without a contract and buried in debt. The pressures became overwhelming. His lavish lifestyle in Los Angeles, combined with unpaid taxes, left him facing the IRS. When his mother passed away in 1977, grief drove him deeper into drugs. Cocaine became his escape, and in 1979, his life nearly ended. Found unconscious in a bathtub after an overdose, he was revived by Sandra. Tony later described seeing a golden light, a near-death vision that felt like divine intervention. That moment changed everything. Realizing he had been given a second chance, he reached out to his sons Danny and Day. Danny, though not a successful musician himself, had a sharp business mind. He cut down expenses, moved Tony back to New York, and began rebuilding his career. Instead of chasing trends, Danny booked college shows and small theaters, introducing younger audiences to timeless American standards. Slowly but surely, Tony Bennett's legendary comeback had begun. The comeback was nothing short of remarkable. Under his son Danny's guidance, Tony Bennett reinvented himself without ever changing his essence. In the 1980s, while pop music was dominated by synthesizers and MTV, Tony leaned into what he knew best, the Great American Songbook. His live performances gained cult-like appeal among younger crowds, proving that authenticity never goes out of style. By the 1990s, the world was rediscovering him. His 1994 MTV Unplugged special was a turning point. Surrounded by a new generation of fans, Tony sang classics with effortless charm, showing that his music was timeless. The album won the Grammy for Album of the Year, cementing his renaissance. Suddenly, Tony Bennett wasn't just a legend of the past, he was relevant again. Over the following decades, he collected 20 Grammy Awards, collaborated with artists from K.D. Lang to Lady Gaga, and even broke records by becoming the oldest living artist to top the Billboard charts. His duet album with Lady Gaga, Cheek to Cheek, 2014, introduced him to millions of young listeners. Even as he battled Alzheimer's later in life, his voice and spirit remained intact. His final concerts with Gaga at Radio City Music Hall in 2021 were emotional proof that his artistry transcended illness. Yet beyond the awards and accolades, what defined Tony Bennett was his humanity. He marched with Martin Luther King Jr. in Selma, supported civil rights, and treated every musician he worked with, whether a jazz great or a rising star, with respect. He believed music should unite, not divide. Tony Bennett's story is not just about fame, but resilience. From chart-topping glory to near collapse, and finally to an unforgettable comeback, he proved that true talent never fades. His voice, filled with sincerity and soul, will echo for generations.